Despite the widely accepted theory that younger children learn second languages with ease, this is not the case. Implementing a second language course in education at an earlier age would not be more effective than learning a second language at an older age. Let's start with something called the critical period hypothesis. The critical period hypothesis states that the first few years of life is a crucial time in which an individual can acquire a first language if presented with adequate stimuli. It also states that if language input does not occur until after this time, the individual will never achieve a full command of language, especially in grammar. This is where many people base their belief that younger children have an easier time picking up a second language. However, not only does support for the critical period hypothesis come from theoretical arguments, the critical period is only crucial for learning a first language. And when learning a second language, the critical period is only fundamental for developing a native-like accent. This idea was studied by Susan Oyama in 1976. Oyama studied 60 male Italian immigrants who entered to the United States at ages ranging from 6 to 20. She examined the degree of American accent and proficiency in English listening, and when the younger arrivals spoke with better pronunciation, she came to the conclusion that age is an important factor to achieve native-like accent. This is because older children and adults are past the prime age for learning new neuromuscular functions and pronunciations. Thus, a native-like accent is the only advantage younger children have over older children and would be the only benefit of implementing a second language course at a young age. However, some studies show that even adult learners may achieve a native-like accent. Even if the critical period hypothesis was valid, the brain is not the only factor that affects how language is learned. Psychological and social factors also affect how children learn language. A person's motivation and incentive can influence how effective a language course is. Implementing a second language course at a young age would not be as effective for every child due to their shorter attention spans.
The best way for second language courses to be offered in schools is to maintain our current system and introduce them in middle school. It is more beneficial for older children to learn second languages since they have more cognitive skills, the mechanisms of how we learn, remember, problem solve, and pay attention. These skills aid in the understanding of a second language. In children ages 4 to 5, their cognitive skills are just developing, while children ages 11 to 13 have already developed a large part of their cognitive skills. Additionally, children ages 11 to 13 have strong metacognitive skills or an awareness of knowledge, which allows them to recognize what they do or don't understand. Many people support the idea of implementing a second language course at a younger age because younger children's brains have more neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity refers to use-dependent cortical reorganization, or the idea that our brain changes from experience and what we learn. Younger kids have more neuroplasticity because their brains are wiring themselves. However, because of this, their brains have to work harder and don't use the most effective areas, according to a study done in 2000 by Gaby and others. Brains are not as efficient in younger children, so learning a second language early on will not be more effective than learning it later when the brain is more developed. It's time to reevaluate how we think children should learn second languages. Learning a language for a child can be just as difficult as it is for an adult. If we want students to receive a better education, we should focus on how they're learning a second language rather than when they're learning it.